host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Right. So the Giants need to hit pick 3 out of the park, like what they did last season with Malik Neighbors. Need to hit this baby out of the park. Because I mean, if you go back, I'd like to, we've had some good hits, right? We've had a couple good hits. But I'll tell you what, boy, if you go back to just like the last 10 drafts, right? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, last 10 drafts, on some shaky grounds. And the thing is, the one thing that just makes it even kind of worse is that, some of these picks, we're in the top 10 and we're swinging and missing. And we've had, and what, 2 of them, we had multiple picks in the first round. Right? The Daniel Jones, we had 3 picks. 2 of them were, Daniel Jones, but not pick 6. DeAndre Baker, oh my God, right? And of course, then we had pick 5 and pick 7, and we're still not even sure we're going to be picking up the 5th-year options on either one. But if you go back, obviously, right, of course, to 2015, right? So, it's why it's so important to hit on your draft picks, right? We took pick number 9, Eric Flowers, right? So, hold on, let's see here. All right, so in the past 10 drafts, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have had 8 picks in the top 10. 8. That's almost 8. And if you include this, right? If you include this year's draft, so in the past 11 drafts, we've had 9 picks in the top 10. 9. That's almost the whole side of a football field, right? So it's almost the entire offense or the entire defense. 9 in the top 10, including number 10. Because I'm including Eli Apple, but man, what we did with some of those picks, wow. Holy cow. And even the one with Saquon Barkley, right? That was a fantastic player, right? Did we draft a bum? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But was he the right pick? We could have traded back with the Colts, right? The Colts, with the Jets. The Jets traded up to 3 with the Colts. The Colts moved back from 3 to 6. Colts moved back from 3 to 6 and picked up an additional 3 second-round picks. Gettleman didn't want to do that. We could have traded with the Jets. Jets could have maybe jumped up. Apparently, I was hearing reports that the phone was ringing and Gettleman was just looking at it. Ring. Yeah. 3 additional second round picks. Wow. But if you look, right? in 2015 we took Eric Flowers. Now he wound up being a decent when they finally moved him into guard, right? It was either Miami or I don't know if there was the WFTs, the WTFs, the Commanders, the Washington Redskins, whatever they were called when he was there in Washington. But it's either Miami or Washington moved him into guard. He wasn't bad. Wasn't too bad. Wasn't a tackle. Wasn't worth the number 9 overall pick in the draft. Oh, my God. No. Right? And it's the thing is now you're setting yourself back because after we took, we're gonna go over this one and we're gonna go over the next one, which is 2 perfect examples, right? Why it's so important to hit on your draft picks. You pick Eric Flowers with number 9, right? And you think you got your tackle for the next 10 years or so, whatever. No, we found out he was a bust, and we're still looking for tackles. And I know it's not easy; it's not a perfect thing. I get that. But then we drafted Evan Neal, and we're still. We drafted 3 tackles in the first round, right? We should have should have an overload of tackles. No, we only got one, and unfortunately, he keeps getting hurt. Right. So, which leads me to my next, right? The next draft in 2016. And the thing is kind of a kicker right in the cojones, right? Is the 2015 and 2016 drafts. The second round picks were far superior to the first round picks. Took Landon Collins in the second round in 2015. Far superior to Eric Flowers. 2016, we took Shep. Right? Sterling Shepard. Second round. Far superior to Eli Big Mouth Apple in the first round. Right? But once again, brings me to my point with the cornerbacks. We keep looking for cornerback. Why do we keep looking? We keep drafting corner. What are we doing here? Right? Right? I mean, we drafted Eli Apple. We did DeAndre Baker. Now we got Tay Banks. It's like we don't even know if Banks is even going to make it. I mean, we shouldn't even be looking for cornerbacks. Well, Baker, right? Baker should be what is 6 seasons, 7 seasons, something like that. He should still be serviceable, right? Maybe a second, maybe be the if you be the second cornerback. We took Tay Banks at number 25. He should be our first, right? So we shouldn't be looking. Why are we going out and picking up a Debo? We don't need him. We drafted good cornerbacks. We don't need. What are we doing? Nope. Yeah, that's why it's so important to hit on these picks. So important. I mean, a quarterback, right? And we're still looking for, right? Daniel Jones, and we're still looking for quarterbacks. But so that was in 2017. You know, we had Evan Ingram. Now, of course, you know, certain situations, you know, he did do rather well with the Jaguars. Right? It's because Peterson incorporates the tight end into his offense more than what the Giants did. But Ingram did have his dropsies with us and all that. But one year, I mean, he had over 100 catches with the Jaguars. You know, I mean, he was a mismatch. He was a mismatch. He had his good moments. He had his bad moments. But, you know, then, of course, 2018, we took Saquon once again. Now, the thing was with Saquon, we certainly didn't take a bum of a player, that's for sure. We took a A1 player, an A1 attitude, you know, personality, all that stuff. Fantastic. But was that what the Giants needed at the time? No. But Gettleman was right. I mean, if Saquon keeps doing what he's doing with the Eagles, because they have a fantastic offensive line, I mean, you can see Saquon possibly maybe going in the Hall of Fame. There's another 4 or 5 years at 2,000 yards rushing the season. Right? Might go in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. But, all right, so we had 2018 with Saquon. Then, of course, in 2019, at least 2019, right? At least we got Sexy Dexy. Now, I'll tell you what. The only one is Weinmeister. Is it Ernie or Arnie Weinmeister, I believe it is. It's the only guy I can think defensive tackle that was any better than Sexy. Arnie, he played in the All-American Football Conference 48 and 49. He was with the Giants for 4 seasons. Then he went to the CFL, played 2 final seasons. So he played 4 seasons with the Giants. He's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was that good. He was real. Number 53, I think it was his number. 53 or 54, his number. He played 4 seasons with the Giants, and he's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think he might be the only one I can think of as far as defensive tackles who are more dominating, who wore a Giants jersey than Sexy. I mean, we've had some good ones, of course, but not as dominant as Sexy. Absolutely not. But I said, so we did draft him. But, I mean, we drafted 3 guys in the first round. One of them, maybe 1 year? I mean, and then, of course, Daniel Jones. I mean, yeah. And Daniel Jones is not a horrible quarterback. I think we, with his injuries and all of that, I think that really affected him. But is he quarterback at, worthy number 6 to take a team that was Super Bowl and all? I think we found out that answer. But, I mean, that draft, All right, then we got should say 2020, we took Andrew Thomas. Fantastic, wonderful, great left tackle. The problem is now is can the guy ever stay healthy ever again? But there's no question he's a very good left tackle for us. Then, of course, we took Kadarius Toney in 2021, right? And he just retired. Then, of course, we took 2022. We took Kayvon and Evan Neal, and we don't even know if either one of those guys is going to be around for his fifth-year option. We'll have to wait and see what they think, right? But once again, that was Shane's first draft. You hate to give the guy a mulligan, but I mean, again, pick 5 and pick 7. I mean, Evan Neal, pick 7. Wow. Yeah. To me, Kayvon, is he worth pick 5 in the draft? No. Would I like him to be better? Yeah, absolutely. But then we took then we traded up to pick 24. Okay, I thought it was 25, but I guess apparently here it says pick 24. We took Tay Banks. Of course, we got Malik Neighbors last season, so that was a home run. That's why it would be so. If we wanted to take in like Carter or Hunter, that would be almost like another home run. But I mean, with Tay Banks, after 2 seasons, he's already been demoted to cornerback number 2. Right? And once again, so wide, so important. Why are we looking for cornerbacks? We drafted Eli Apple, we got Baker, we got right? I mean, we drafted 3 cornerbacks in the past 10 drafts in the first round, and like possibly none of them are first round worthy cornerbacks. Right? And this too. This is one thing that obviously the Shane was talking about here. Joe Schoen on Abdul Carter. That's why if we want Carter falls to us, says you cannot have enough pass rushers. We will find out who the Giants take with the 3rd overall pick in the draft in a week. And the betting markets have a strong conviction about which way they're going to go. Edge rusher Abdul Carter is the heavy favorite to be General Manager Joe Schoen's choice in Green Bay, and the Penn State product was a topic of conversation at Schoen's final pre-draft press conference on Wednesday. Schoen said the team will have their final medical meetings on prospects, but suggested they feel comfortable with Carter's health after meetings with him last week. Now, that's also another one of the things, too. That's another one of the things. One thing, we don't see the medicals. Nobody sees the medicals. The team see the medicals, so there's something in there that some of the stuff we don't know about, right? Let's see. Schoen also made it clear that he does not think there's any issues with taking a player in an area of relative strength for the team. Schoen invoked the name of one of the Giants' rivals when asked about adding to Burns, Kayvon, and Dexter on the defensive front. Everybody watches Super Bowl, right? I didn't. I'm not going to. Never will. If the Eagles are in it, never will watch the Super Bowl. So, but Philly rushed with how many? He said 4 the whole game. That's one way to do it, Shane said, via transcript from the team. If you think about any of these players that may or may not be in the mix as a unique player like him that played off the ball for 2 years, his first 2 years, he was like an off-ball linebacker. So he only played defensive end for 1 season. 12 sacks. He had like 24 tackles for loss. It's a lot of tackles for loss. He only played one season off the edge and had a really good season. You've got Kayvon and you've got Burns. You've got Dex inside. Gives you a lot of options. He's a versatile player. He's young. He's just 21 years old. Holy. Guy with that amount of talent is only 21. Wow. And an exciting player to watch. Yeah, you can't have enough edge rushers or pass rushers. No, you can't. A surefire quarterback prospect might make more people happy, but the Giants have 9 wins over the last 2 seasons, so it's hard to make a compelling argument against adding talent anywhere on the football field. So the one thing is that, you can look at it however you want, right? You got to have a quarterback. Yeah, absolutely, sure. But you also need a team. Yeah, you got to look at chicken or the egg. It doesn't, you know what I mean? You can build a team And then when the time is right, the quarterback shows up and you plop him and you got a team. And especially if you draft a quarterback, you got him cheap for 5 years and you're plopping him on a team. The one thing would be is that if you get the quarterback, right, but you don't have a team, now you're going to waste a year or two trying to get a team around him. So by the time you got a team around him, you've already wasted 1 or 2 years of his first-year contract eligibility is gone. So you might only have like 2 or 3 years left to get the most out of him. The thing is also is like, when if you got a team and you plop them, you draft them and you plop them and you got a nice team around, he's still young, right? So he's going to make some mistakes and all that and everything. So, I mean, there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can just say, just get the quarterback and then build a team around him, right? But I said, if you got yourself a nice team, right, and then you get your quarterback, you might almost be off and running, right? As I said, then you'd have the quarterback for 5 seasons on the cheap, and you'd have a team built around him. So I don't see anything wrong, so much with taking passing on Shador, and taking Carter. I said it doesn't matter what I think or anybody thinks. What does Shane and Dable think? Because basically their job is is on the line. So if they take Sanders at number 3 and they're wrong, it's going to cost them their job. So they have to be 100% sure, right? that Sanders is the guy. So, but I mean, it doesn't mean the Giants, because they have 2 third-round picks, right? Let's not forget, right? They, if they want to jump back into the first round and grab a quarterback, they can do that. And they do that, right? They can give up maybe their second round, maybe a third-round pick, 1 of the 2 third round, and maybe a pick from maybe next year or something like that. They want to jump way back into the first round, right? Then they drafted Jackson Dart or Milrow, one of those guys, right? And they would have them for 5 seasons, though, right? So they might have their cake and eat it too. They might be able to get that super blue chip player in Carter or Hunter, and then still jump back into the first round and get themselves a quarterback. It's going to be really interesting to see how far Sanders slides. And it's also going to be really interesting to see where does Dart and Milrow want to fall. How far did they make it through the first round or what? Be interesting to see. And also be interesting to see if one of those guys falls to the Giants in number 34, what do the Giants do? Right? Very, very interesting.